Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. It really helps the channel grow. That rhymed.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Didn't even find that. Yeah. Follow us on your favorite podcast provider. Also, leave a like, leave a comment. Tell us what you think. We're loving the questions in the comments section, and we're actually going to address one of them tonight during our shout-outs. Benny, where can they find us? And leave more questions for us on social media.
Yeah, you can find us. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, Ray's favorite, TikTok. Ray Benny Sports. Check us out. Like Ray said, leave us some questions. Leave us some comments.
Yeah, or on TikTok, leave us a dance.
Yeah.
Do a Ray Benny Sports dance. Hashtag Ray Benny Sports.
If you do one, Ray will do one.
We didn't even talk about this before the show. Just putting it out there. But you know what? Since you put it out there, yes. If you send a Ray and Benny Sports talk show dance on TikTok, I will send one in return. No questions asked. I'm so screwed. We're going to talk about the Winnipeg Jets, the week that was, the week that's to come. We got some CFL hot topics, NFL hot topics, and the NFL Power 5. We also got some World Cup football to talk about. But let's start off with our Winnipeg Jets and the week that was. They went 2-1. A little bit of a mixed bag, more positive than negative, I thought. Let's start off with the Avs game. Any thoughts there, or any thoughts in general on the week that you'd like to share?
Well, it's funny. We said coming out of this week, 2-1 would be a good thing, right? We assumed the Avalanche game would be the toughest, and the other two should have been fairly easy. But it looked like the Avs game was the easiest of the three. With the Jets, I mean, Helly was fantastic, but the Jets just rolled through and they finished their chances, taking down Colorado 5-0. 40 save shutout for Helly, but it was just all the guys, like everyone was chipping in. The top line, Scheifele, Wheeler, Perfetti were amazing. It was a great game, and you're thinking, okay, they're hitting their stride, they're going to keep this going, but then Columbus came to town.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, this is going to be a continuous thing that we're going to talk about this week, is the slow starts. Even in the dominating game against the Avs, I remember watching the first 2-3 minutes, and the Avs were all over the Jets, keeping the puck in their zone. I walked away, and then all of a sudden it was like 3-0. I'm like, what happened? Because I thought they were in trouble. But they did wake up, and thank goodness they had Hellebuck, like you said, on a 40-save performance. The guy had his third shutout of the year, which leads the league, tied with a couple guys. He's third in save percentage of goalies who played 15 games at least. In the same criteria, he's fourth in goals against average. So Helly's just lights out.
Yeah, and that's what helps them, I think, overcome these slow starts, right?
Yeah.
We saw the slow start in Columbus, and with Rittich and Ned, it was good goals by Columbus, so it was a little bit tough for him. But those are some of the saves like Helly made against Colorado, right? Yeah. He made some really good saves that kept them, at 0-0. Rittich couldn't do the same against Columbus, and the Jets just never could build their way back up. Even against Anaheim had 18 shots in the first period, right? They could have put that game away if Anaheim was a better team, but they only came away 1-0. And Helly, again, he kept the dam closed enough for the Jets to get their feet moving. And those slow starts, they're not making Bonus happy. I was going to say Bowman. Bonus happy at all.
No. Interesting stat going back to the Avs game. Scheifele had his 55th 3-point game. The Jets are, in those 55 games, 52-1-2.
Crazy stat.
Isn't that insane?
That is insane, yeah.
That's a high winning percentage. That's oddly high.
Yeah.
Like if he was maybe 20 games over 500, that's impressive. But 52-1-2 when Scheifele gets 3 points.
Yeah, that's a fascinating stat. And I guess so, man. When he's getting that many points, that means that top line is clicking. And him, now he's back with Wheeler, and him and Wheeler again. They found that chemistry again together. Yes. And they're actually Scheifele still playing defense, for the most part. Whereas that was always the problem with Scheifele and Wheeler together. The defense was lacking. Like they'd be giving her all out for goals, but then they'd give up a couple here and there. So it would never, they'd score one, but give up two. So it was always one step forward, two steps back. Perfetti on that line. Wow. That guy is, since he got benched against the Wild there around Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving. Yeah. But ever since then, he has come out on fire. Since being paired with those guys. And, he's now sitting at 4 goals, 12 assists, 16 points, second in the Calder race, where, a couple of weeks ago, he wasn't even close to that race at all. So it's good to see that. And it's good to see he can fill it in that spot.
The only concern I have about Perfetti is when they do play teams that are big and physical, like Minnesota or New York or maybe Vegas still. He still struggles against teams that are big and take up a lot of space. So that's a main concern of mine. But yeah, that first line, Magic. Talking about the Blue Jackets game, a concern other than the lackluster performance is that Bonus said, he also said that team defense went out the window. They went 1 for 5 on the power play against Columbus. They got to start hitting those.
Yeah, including this whole stretch, they were 3 for 11. So not great, at all. And they didn't allow a goal in the penalty kill. At least they stopped 9 times in those 3 games. So that's fantastic. Absolutely. Considering last year that was a gong show, right? But yeah, that number 1 power play is still, even the second power, it's not clicking. Not enough to get this team going. And it could have helped against Columbus because they had, I think, 5 power plays.
1 for 5.
Yeah, well, yeah, sorry, 1 for 5. Yeah, you just mentioned that.
Yeah. So and the one that they did score, I think the goalie was pulled. So it was a 6-on-4.
Yeah.
It was like 4.5 minutes left or something in the third.
Yeah.
And they finally put one in, but they had needed extra help in that.
Yeah, and that's disappointing, especially when you're trying to battle back in a game that you cannot get a power play goal to save your life.
Yeah.
Which is kind of disappointing because you got a lot of firepower there, man. You're putting Scheifele, Dubois, Wheeler, Connor on the ice together with Morrissey, and you're thinking you're going to get some pretty decent chances and score at least, more than what they did there for 3 for 11. So, but that has to get some more consistency. I know Morrissey's having a great season back on the point. I feel like they still need that booming shot on the point somehow.
Absolutely.
So, but there's no one really there that has that booming shot.
There's got to be a forward on that back end.
Yeah.
It's a booming slap shot. And I don't know who has the best slap shot of the forwards right now. None of it's really been on display.
Line would be all right.
He's not here no more. Speaking of that, I gotta say, thanks for lighting this fire under my ass. I gotta say, I'm a little tired of these Jets fanboys who are acting like jilted people who can't get over this breakup that are still booing Liney. Like, get over it. Like, the guy he was so nice to Winnipeggers. He left because he wasn't pushed out by the team, but the leadership wasn't really supporting him, including Maurice, who we'll talk about soon, and Wheeler and Scheifele. So I don't understand the hate. I think they all got to get over it. It's petty.
Well, it was first game back in Winnipeg, right? I think because he's been injured, and I thought it was first. Are you sure?
First in Winnipeg, second match.
Yes, yes.
You're right.
Yeah. So maybe they're getting out of their systems there. The end of the break, like Laine was fantastic. I loved having Laine here, man. I didn't like how it all ended and how abrupt it was and how he wanted out. But man, I'd take the guy back in a heartbeat if we can somehow get him back. So I'll never be the guy.
One of my favorite memories of Laine is that Toronto game where they came back and he got a hat trick. That was the first game I took my dad to. And it was magical.
That was a fantastic game, man. Matthews getting stopped and then Laine scoring the winner. Come on.
It was
can't top that, man.
But let's get back to this current edition of the Jets. Just to finish off in regards to the Ducks, Bonus was really pissed off about the start. Yes, they put 5 in a row. They went on a roll, but it took a long time against a Ducks team and they were down 2-0. And he called them out on it, which I like, on a win.
Yeah, he called them out. He also called himself out, right? Yep. He didn't just blame it on them. He's coming out and his quote is, these guys are men, they're professionals, they're paid to show up here and go to work. My job is to make that happen. So, it's a little bit of both. He's blaming them, he's blaming himself, and they have to figure that out and fix it together. It's not just them, and he's not just taking the blame on himself. So it's good to see.
You cut out, for some reason, the best part of that quote where he said, I'm not a babysitter.
Yes.
I thought that was I'm going to put it on you guys to grow up because this is not a Rick Bonus issue. This has been an issue with Paul Maurice. Paul Maurice. And Pomo. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Paul Maurice, Pomo. It's just been an issue since that locker room was the culture, or that culture was in the locker room, these slow starts. So I can understand Rick Bonus's frustration in not figuring out what's going on, or it seems in that quote that he does not going on, or maybe him calling him out as not being men is a solution to that. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing with Pomo. Sometimes there wasn't any responsibility there at all. And he would just say, I liked our game tonight. Like that was his most famous part of his quote. I liked our game tonight. Well, no, you got outplayed tonight, So put responsibility somewhere. And I like this with Bonus. He's not letting these guys off the hook. So keep pushing that. You want that consistency. I mean, they've shown that they can get this game going, not the whole full 60 minutes, but they can start playing the way they need to win games and to beat good teams like Colorado.
Yeah.
But it takes a period to get in there. I
think him maybe putting it on himself is just a level under him putting it really all on them. Because the system is there. Really, what else does he have to figure out? These are professionals. He's a 70-something-year-old coach.
I don't know. Is he that old?
Dude's pretty old.
He's close to 70 for sure.
Jeez. So
maybe he is.
Yeah, any which way.
He's been around for a while.
He's been around. So I think it's just that one step next to, hey, y'all, it's on your ass. And I don't mind that.
No, and he's finding, I like him using Esimont. He moved him up with Dubois and Connor too in the last game, and it kind of added a spark there. Esimont's not a top 6 guy. I can't see him being in the top 6 forever, but to have him, you can throw him up there and maybe spark these guys a little bit. And it led to a goal right away from Connor and Dubois, from that line. So it's good to see that stuff. I still would rather prefer another top 6 guy in there, obviously Ehlers would be great, but someone else if they can bring him in, but it's good that you can have guys that you can bump up here and there and see if they can add a spark.
Yeah. I don't know who else they can bring in from the outside right now. I don't think they have chips that they really should be putting up considering how good they're playing so far this year. If they're really close to the 500 and just couldn't get over it, but we'll see for now. Speaking of Pomo's coming to town. Never mind Santa Claus. That Santa Claus parade can be a hassle sometimes. But anyway, Trey, sorry. Because it was on Jets game day. They pushed it forward. That's crazy. Yeah. Let's talk about Pomo coming to town with the Florida Panthers before I get sidetracked with Santa. Thoughts on that matchup coming?
It'll be an interesting one. I fully expect Pomo to get a round of applause, standing ovation, maybe all that kind of stuff. I mean, he did some good for the Jets in the first part of his tenure here. Yeah, it got a little stale by the end of it. I mean, I was beating that drum to see Pomo go a lot over the last few years, but
loudly.
I won't take away what he brought and stabilized his team after Claude Noel was here, right? Yeah. And he did a good job with that. But he had a lot of talent, and it's just unfortunate that he couldn't take that talent to the next step. And then all of a sudden that talent started dispersing quicker than I think anyone thought. With Buffalo and Trouba, all those guys going. So Florida's struggling. We're seeing Florida play almost the same way the Jets did, giving up a lot of goals, needing to score a lot of goals to win games. Yeah. They've won 2 in a row right now and are 4-3-3 in their last 10, but they're barely over 500. If you count the overtime losses, they're under 500, 6-7-1 on the road. So I fully expect the Jets to come out flying in this game. Hopefully they got the message. First period, come out flying, and they should be able to win this game.
They have to come out flying. This Spencer Knight kid, yes, I know they played Vancouver. I know they played the Kraken, but he's like at a 970 save percentage right now. So he's feeling it. If the Jets start slow and allow him to get confidence, that's not a good thing, because Florida has a good enough or very good roster to take control of a game.
Yeah, and they got offense.
We could be seeing a very good young goalie making a turn at the season, take that starting job in Spencer Knight. I don't think so. I think the Jets, if they come out strong, they can beat Spencer Knight, and Florida should not be an issue the way they've been playing, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, he was close to taking over completely from Bobrovsky. It's tough when you're starting goalie. Bobrovsky is making $10 million a year, $10 million plus.
Absolutely.
So it's hard to take that job away completely because he's still signed there for a while. But yeah, Spencer Knight's a good young goalie. If you let him start to get into a rhythm, it'll be a pretty good matchup with him and Helly on the ice. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see. I hope the Jets can pull this off. They let Laine score 2 goals on him. The revenge tour continues here this week. Hopefully they can knock Pomo off.
Get the power play going.
Yes.
How about the Blues on the road? They start at home with Pomo visiting. I think I mentioned that. Then they go to St. Louis. Always a tough divisional matchup, but St. Louis is not looking good. Bennington is not looking good.
He's losing his mind, that guy.
Oy.
He's even got his coach telling him to just play goal and stop with all the other theatrics.
Yeah. The only concern I have here is the Jets playing down to their level to where they're playing right now. Like, I don't think it's a Winnipeg Jets thing. That's a pro sports thing where you have these good teams and they play down to a team's level. I think this could be one of those situations. What do they call them? Trap games?
Yeah.
I think this could be one of those.
Well, they played the Blues earlier this year. Then that was probably at that time the best game of their season so far, that 3-0 win, and knocking Blues were on a 7-game winning streak at that time.
Yeah.
So they knocked the Blues down, and currently the Blues are only 11-13, and Binnington's save percentage is .895. So that is pretty terrible. But the Blues are streaky. If they get on a streak, they start winning some games. They got to get to Binnington, and they got to play tough. It's a divisional game. You know it's not going to be easy. Yeah. The Blues need to win this game more than the Jets do really at this point. So
yeah, you're gonna have a scrappy team.
Yeah, it'll be a tough battle. I expect this to be a close game.
Well, that's the thing, I guess, about playing down to the team that you're playing against. Sometimes you're just not expecting a punch that hits you and you get hurt, and then you're playing on your heels, which would not be good for Winnipeg. And maybe that's part of the issue of them starting slow, that they're just not expecting a punch that they get hit with, and they're playing on their heels to start. I don't know.
Well, part of their issue last year was they thought they could always come back in the third period, right? And they did it a lot last year.
Yeah.
So even if they're down 2 or 3, they'd fight back in the third. So maybe they're still working that out of their system to know, hey, let's play 60 minutes. Win this game, earlier, or play it harder and not have to fight back at the end and hope to come back.
Yeah.
So maybe they're getting there, 20 games in. Like I texted you even after the Colorado game, and you asked me if I'm all in, and I was at that point. And then I saw that Columbus game. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll back up here a bit. So.
We're 20 games in. You gotta buy in, or you gotta get tightrope this one. Come on now, Jets Nation. I'll give you a few more games. I'm not waiting till the All-Star break. If you keep playing me in this gray area on the All-Star break, man. Oh man, shoot! I don't know what I can't do anything. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, we got 3 weeks to the end of the year here. It'll be a pretty telling 3 weeks to see where they're at there.
I agree. Hawks on the road, Chicago. They should beat them. They've lost 8 in a row, 14 of the last 16. How much analysis?
And the Jets just beat them 7-2, right?
Yeah.
I got a question for you on this.
Okay.
If the Jets are still in contention later in the season, would you like to see them make a move for Jonathan Taves?
Not really.
He's actually having a decent season. Obviously not a top 2-line guy kind of thing, but maybe even we can even slap his experience there on the 4th line, because obviously they're not going to move Lowry down. It's a good experience to have for the playoffs. Obviously, if it's a good deal, nothing like giving up a first or anything for him.
Yeah, I think Chicago in that position would be asking for a first for the greatest player in a generation.
And some teams probably going to give that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But Taves could be like, hey man, I want to go do it in Winnipeg, so take whatever they're offering.
I'd love that story. Love that story. If I was a GM, I'd be like, nah. Jets don't have much cap room. Is it possible? They'd have to some way get rid of some cap room. How would they do that?
Yeah, you'd have to get Chicago to probably hold some salary. I mean, if it's later in the year,
True.
Right, his salary is a lot less. Maybe Chicago could hold some, but usually if a team holds it, they also want to hire a draft pick too, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to see them give up anything high for this, because even if the Jets make the playoffs, I don't see them making the Stanley Cup or winning the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So to give up a first rounder to lose in the first or second round, not a great deal.
Yeah, to a guy who'll probably retire in the next year or two.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I'd make the move. But again, it would be a great story. Caps on Sunday. Talking about great stories. Ovechkin. That's a good ticket draw because the rest of the team stinks.
But this guy, how bad they're doing.
This guy's breaking records, man. Most goals scored on the road. He's on the road, so why not go watch him? But the rest of the team sucks. I fully expect the Jets to win this one.
Yeah, they're struggling. I wonder how long Laviolette's going to last there with this record going on there.
Oh, they're not very good.
No.
Is there anything else to say about this game?
Nothing. Again, I fully expect the Jets should beat. The Jets should beat St. Louis, Chicago, and the Caps.
Yeah.
Right. The way they're playing, if they can play their game, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Again, we'll see what happens.
You mentioned Trouba. He had a little spit spat on the ice earlier in the week, a couple games ago. Threw his helmet, was yelling at the bench. They were down 3-0, no life. They just traded Ryan Reaves. Is this a Ryan Reaves effect? They are 1-4 without Ryan Reaves. The Wild are 4-1 with Ryan Reaves. And I know you laughed at me before when I mentioned Ryan Reaves on this podcast, but he still has an effect. I'm saying because Trouba got to fight himself now. There's no one to protect him. He's like yelling at the bench, "Why aren't you protecting me?" Is what I.
Trouba's a big boy. He can handle himself.
And he's also the defenseman and the captain who should be on the ice for 24 minutes.
And maybe that's part of the problem is the captaincy is taking up too much. And it's added pressure, right? You never know how. Like, look at Wheeler. Look at Wheeler this year compared to when he was captain. He seems more easygoing. He seems like he's smiling on the ice. He was even smiling with Laine there. Laine had a chance for a hat trick. And Wheeler made the save to stop him, right?
Yeah.
And he skates by him and he's laughing and whatever. I'm assuming they're joking around. I don't know if Wheeler, told him to get lost or what, but, so it has a lot. And now the pressure is true, but yes, he's probably one of the tougher guys on the team now that Reaves is gone. So you're expecting him now to possibly drop his gloves, which you really don't want him to do anyways, or to get in those scrums or anything.
Not at all.
And now he's got to be a team leader. At the same time. So it's a lot. It's a lot of added pressure. And, and then it's not going as well for the Rangers this year as it did for the last couple of years. And who's the new captain? Trouba. So it's going to fall into his shoulders.
We cannot devalue the Ryan Reaves effect. This guy, anyone in the NHL can admit the guy can skate. There's no denying he can skate. But there's a freedom for your guys on line 1 and 2 to skate around and do their thing. If you're a player on the opposite team of Ryan Reaves, are you going to mess around with the top 6 knowing that you have to deal with that dude?
No, I mean, it depends where you are on the ice with Reaves. If you're going to be on the ice, usually if it's a guy messing with those guys, it's a guy that's going to fight Reaves anyways, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be another. It's not like Ehlers is going to go and take out Trouba because he's, not worried about Reaves. He's never going to fight Reaves, right? And if he does, it's game over for Ehlers kind of thing. So
imagine that fight. That's like Mike Tyson and Little Joe. Hey, sometimes Little Joe can win, but
Ehlers took out. Who did he take out? Cook? No, that wasn't Cook. Who the heck did he take out there? He was a pretty big dude. He took him down pretty good. I can't remember now.
Takedown or a punch?
It was a punch.
Ooh, I don't think you want to take Ryan Reaves out. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
There's a Ryan Reaves effect. I'm just saying.
We'll see how the rest of the season goes. But yeah, disappointing season so far for the Rangers where they're at.
Just Sturkin, come on now. We got some CFL talking about Winnipeggers like Ryan Reaves, Bobby Dyce, longtime Winnipegger, Manitoba Bison, Winnipeg Hawkeye, Winnipeg Blue Bomber coach, Saskatchewan coach, finally gets hired as a head coach in Ottawa. I want him as head coach from day one since PLP was hired. And he got his boy Kahari Jones. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like it. We were talking at the end of last season and Dyce, the way he was coaching, the way Ottawa was playing, that we'd like to see that happen. So I like it. Like that. I actually love that he ended up getting Kahari too, because now you got that experience. I know Dyce has been around for a long time, but now you got that experience with Kahari, who was a head coach, who can kind of help him and guide him in certain situations.
Yeah.
So he's got stuff to bounce off, and Baron Miles is DC too now there. So it seems like a very good staff. I'm excited to see what they can do. They got Mazzoli coming back. Kahari will work wonders with him.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they might go for Levi Mitchell. Get a veteran quarterback. We'll talk about him in a second. But it's not just that he's a Winnipeg guy and I'm being like a cheerleader. Like, his resume supports this.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kahari and Baron Miles, like, they were both on the staff of 2013 when the Riders won the Grey Cup. There's a relationship there of winning. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to bring that attitude. It's great that Kahari rejected the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who are having a tough time fighting OC.
Sounds like everyone's rejecting the Saskatchewan Roughriders right now.
Except for Fijardo. He wishes they would talk to him.
Jeez, that guy.
But I think it's not just, I wish, you'd hire me. It's tell me what's going on so I can make a decision in my life. And he has that right, man. He's given it up all for the Saskatchewan. It's not his fault that Jeremy O'Day and Craig Dickinson are horrible. Clown show.
I totally agree. At least let him know what your position is, where you're going. Are you going to bring him back? Are you not going to bring him back? Let him know so he can start moving on with his life. Yeah. Free agency in 3 months. Let him know. I mean, even cut him now if you wanted to, and let the guy get a jump on a freaking free agency and see where he can go.
Because he was on the Rod Peterson show, and he mentioned, like, I can't really do anything with other teams because of tampering.
Yeah.
So he wasn't even saying release me. He's just saying just let talk so we can know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, have some respect. Like, the guy brought you to 2 West finals and he didn't do anything to make the team better around him. And now you're blaming him, and stupid.
I'd like it. I want him to go somewhere else. I don't want him to end back there because I'd like to see what he can do somewhere else.
Yeah.
With the team and support, because we've seen what he can do. I mean, in those last couple of seasons before this one, he was a pretty good quarterback. You know, he took them, like he said, he was one doink away from possibly tying up that game and sending it to overtime. So I think he's still got it in him, and I think if he's got a decent line, he'll be fine.
I'd love to see him in Hamilton. Dane Evans doesn't seem like he wants to go back to Hamilton, or he's accepted the fact that they don't want him either. So maybe.
But he's still signed for one more year anyway. So what are they going to do there? You'd have to either keep him along or cut him. And I don't know how that works with the salary cap and all that. But
with the not guaranteed contracts, I think the bulk will be okay.
But then you also traded for Bo Levi, and that deal is not even done. Like, why did you even make that deal without knowing that this guy was going to sign there?
You get advanced negotiation rights to see what you can. And if he's like, nah, I don't really want to until I go into free agency, then you're like, well, let's think about something else too.
But then you bring back Dane Evans and say, hey, Dane, welcome back.
I wouldn't bring back Dane Evans, to be honest with you. I might as well bring out Schiltz and see if I can find something down south. That's what I'd do. Yeah,
Fijardo would be a good one, actually, in Hamilton.
I think so.
McLeod Bethel-Thompson's going to be a free agent. Maybe Toronto, this is their time to think, hey, Chad Kelly won us that Grey Cup, so maybe we don't need McLeod Bethel-Thompson anymore.
I'm a fan of Chad Kelly. Just saying. I'm a fan of Chad Kelly.
Do you really think Toronto would roll in with Chad Kelly, though, after that? Because they still need – if they had a chance for Bo Levi.
Oh, no, don't do that. No, his skills are depleted. You have this young guy who came up big in a big situation and clearly has all the skills to be a CFL quarterback. And now you have the whole off season with him to coach him and have him good with this. Why would you do that?
Because it's Toronto. And if you can get a big name like Bo Levi, they probably go for it.
Pinball will not allow that to happen. I fully feel that will not happen. No, Chad Kelly is the next one in Toronto, whether what's his name, 3 last names, law firm wants to be back or not. I think it would be a horrible move for Toronto to get Bo Levi Mitchell. I really feel that in my heart.
We'll see. We'll see. I kind of agree with you. I'd like to see what Chad Kelly can do. Yes. And he came in under pressure. Maybe he didn't have any pressure really in that Grey Cup, and he did well, facing it, whatever he had to face.
Yeah.
He didn't flinch, and he made the run that he had to and got Toronto in scoring position. So
like Bo Levi wants to go to contender in a market that loves their team. That's not Toronto. That sounds more like Saskatchewan to me.
But they're not a contender though. So they have the fans part, but they're not totally a contender.
Oh, if they would get an O-line, for the love of goodness.
But that's a tall order to make in this offseason. Can you sign enough O-line and have them gel? Look at Ottawa, man. They went crazy, signed some good O-linemen, and that thing never gelled all season.
Well, their quarterback got hurt early, though.
Well, yeah, because I don't even want to mention his name, but the O-line was also terrible. Too.
Oh my goodness, such a good offseason. One more thing in the CFL offseason, just a question: should Calvillo get a shot at the head coaching job in Montreal, or would you roll with Maciocia?
Well, Maciocia already said he wasn't going to do both. He doesn't want to do GM and coach. So they've been doing interviews. And as what I was reading up today, Calvillo has not even gotten a sniff for an interview, or will he get a sniff? If I was Maciocia and I thought, Calvillo could do it, for sure, man, fan favorite. You might bring more fans to the stands and have them constantly there watching Calvillo. Because, the best years for Montreal were obviously Calvillo was running the show, right? That freaking him as quarterback was just an unstoppable show. Until they got to the Grey Cup kind of thing. But, I would do it. But the only thing with Maciocia, if he's not ready, that's 2 coaches. I know he didn't hire Kahari. He got Kahari.
Yeah.
But that's a tough one to kind of get away with if you hire Calvillo and he stinks, especially after coming up and making the playoffs last year.
Jeez.
But it doesn't sound like Calvillo is going to get that chance anyways. But I'd probably roll the dice. Why not?
Before we move on to football south of the border, can I tell you again how disappointed I am with Randy Ambrosie? This guy has been in the media talking about oh, we need to find ways to get more quarterbacks to come to our league. Why don't you find ways to attract the next generation of Canadian fans? I'm not understanding this guy.
Yeah, he's got no ideas or no plans to attract that, to bring the young fans in. You know what? At this point, it's up to, say, me as a father. I bring my son to the games, right?
Yes.
And that's what you're going to have to rely on to keep this game going. So either you bring your son, you bring your daughter, you bring your nephew, your niece, whichever. Start bringing some kids to the game, your friends' kids, whichever.
Yep.
Start bringing them and start having them buy into the game. But
the offense, yeah, we do have to step up on our own accord because the marketing.
But you still need the CFL. You still need the ones who got missed out and right now are in their 20s to 30s that never experienced the CFL. You need to start bringing them in somehow. You need to figure out a way to get them to the games. And I know sometimes with the Bomber stuff, they have the social stuff, just people, social ticket almost. They're standing around having a couple of drinks and kind of in the concourse watching the game from there, not in the seats. And then hopefully as they get older, you're thinking maybe they'll start sitting in the seats, right? Maybe that'll build off after that. But the CFL needs to do more. We've been beating that drum for a long time.
Well, there's a thing like in the Blue Jays, they're taking one of their high deck 500 sections and they're going to make it like a rooftop patio. So maybe they can find that a section in the stadium, make them $15 tickets. Just stand there and watch the game.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then, like you said, eventually they get older and hopefully they'll end up sitting down somewhere, right?
Exactly.
And then they start to bring their family or whoever at some point.
And that's not to poop on the Bombers. They've done a great job. The stadium's full. It's loud. It's not the Bombers. It's just ideas around the league that need to happen. And the CFL is clearly not leading it. So I don't know. Disappointment again. Let's go to the NFL. Quick and dirty NFL Power 5. Who do you have at 5?
You know what? I'm going to throw the Bengals at number 5. Impressive victory over Kansas City yesterday, and they've looked good for the last few weeks.
Yeah, at number 5, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. They're good as long as they don't have to play the Bengals. 0-3 recently with Joe Burrow. And actually, at number 4, I do have the Cincinnati Bengals. My pick for the Super Bowl this year. They're creeping up, 8-4, quietly.
I got the Chiefs at number 4, so just a little bit of a flip flop there for both of us.
Chefs,
but the Chefs have not looked good lately.
And they're 0-3 against the Bengals, bro. What's going on?
Yeah, I guess I probably could have put it the other way around.
It's all good. Number 3, who you got?
I got the Bills back in there. Number 3. Yeah, Josh Allen looking good enough again. The D is getting healthier.
I agree with you. Buffalo Bills, as long as Josh Allen's back on track with Diggs, this team's a threat.
Yeah. They do need to get more, though, out of their other receivers, though, because it's so frustrating to me watching some of these games sometimes. It's like, hey, who the number 1 receiver is, right? Maybe double the guy, see what the other guys can do, but I'm not a DC, so I don't really know anything. So I could be completely wrong on that.
Where's Knox? Tight end Knox to step up.
Yeah, he's done nothing.
Jeez. I got the Dallas Cowboys at 2. And I'm pretty sure OBJ is not leaving Dallas without some money.
I got the Vikings at 2. I still left the Cowboys off this list for this week, but
the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys. I still left them off right now. They beat up on Indy. Indy's not a very good team.
It's not just Indy. It's the weeks before that.
I know. They got to work their way back in there after they lost to the Eagles there a few weeks ago.
But the Eagles are number 1.
The Eagles are number 1, yes.
The NFC division is theirs to lose. They are Super Bowl bound, my friend.
I don't know. I don't know about Super Bowl bound.
Oh, for sure Super Bowl bound.
They're definitely getting that number 1 seed.
Oh yeah, man. They're
with that schedule that they have for the rest of the way. So
yeah, so that's my 2-1. Dallas Cowboys, Eagles, and you got Eagles at 1.
I got the Eagles at 1, Vikings at 2.
Oh, Vikings creeping in there. Let's go with some hot.
I'll give them a little bit of love until they fall out of favor.
Oh, they've fallen out of my favor. Not because they suck. It's just
no, not here.
More impressive for me.
Yeah.
Hot topics. Jimmy G out for the season, foot injury. San Francisco can't catch a break with these quarterbacks, but yet again, they can catch a break because Mr. Irrelevant, Mr. Purdy Irrelevant, won the game against the daunted defense, the daunted Dolphins because of the San Francisco defense. Thoughts on that? That's your team.
Bro, it's amazing how over these last few seasons, the amount of quarterbacks injuries and stuff that the Niners have faced.
Yeah.
And it is like, you already lost Trey Lance earlier this year. And as much as I like to rag on Jimmy G, who knows with Brock Purdy? I'd rather have Jimmy G still leading the way for the rest of the season at least. Purdy came
best
in
football lately.
Hey, yeah,
of his career.
He's still up and down. Like he'll still give you head scratchers, but yeah, he was looking pretty good for the last couple of weeks. And even into yesterday, he was moving pretty good, moving the ball pretty good on the Dolphins after the Dolphins opened that scoring pretty quick. Unfortunate injury for the guy. That's part of the reason why they went and got Trey Lance is the guy could not stay healthy enough, right? He went through a lot of injuries last year. He tore his ACL a few years ago, or his Achilles a few years ago. So it's been tough to keep him on the field, So it's a tough one for the Niners. I don't know if Brock, if you're hoping that Brock Purdy turns into freaking Tom Brady and can lead the Niners with a good defense, and decent special teams to a Super Bowl, that's really what you're only going to hope for at this point if he can do that.
No, he's not going to be Tom Brady.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying more so the fact that he does enough not to lose games and the defense does enough to win the games. That's really what you're going to have to hope for at a Purdy.
Yes.
He looked good yesterday. Yes. Coming off the bench. Sometimes that, gives those guys a little bit of a jump or a spark, and it's tougher for the other team. So we'll see this week when he comes in and he's full-time starter, how he can do. But if the defense keeps playing the way they can or that they have, Niners got a chance to at least make the playoffs. I don't know if they'll end up getting to that Super Bowl with teams like the Eagles and Cowboys ahead of them.
No. Like you said, like the Purdy will get you to the playoffs, but he won't win you a game in the playoffs. In the playoffs, you're playing a team where your quarterback's got to make plays. And I don't think he's going to make plays when it comes down to it against teams like that. So that I think losing Jimmy G is a big blow. I think picking up Josh Johnson is actually a very good thing off the Broncos practice roster. He knows the room. He knows the system. He might even be a better choice than Purdy in regards to moving forward. If he gets more comfortable within the system, maybe he will be the starter in a couple of weeks as long as Purdy can hold down the fort.
Yeah, we'll see how Purdy does over the next few weeks. He's got a tough games, Tampa Bay defense next week. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Josh Johnson's a veteran. He knows he's been with the Niners before, and especially with Shanahan. So he also got Baker Mayfield out there.
Josh Johnson's been with 13 other teams.
He has.
What? You also got who?
Baker Mayfield is out there too.
Sure, why not? Why not? If you're depending on your defense to win games, why not get Baker Mayfield? He's maybe under a good offensive coordinator, he'll be good because he hasn't had one for a while.
Yeah, and Stefanski actually in Cleveland was a bit of ran a bit of the Shanahan offense kind of thing. So, Mayfield wouldn't be completely lost coming into that. I wouldn't mind seeing. I don't see any team claiming Mayfield, so maybe they can sign him for a cheaper veteran deal at the end of it and have him in as a backup. Why not?
Well, Shanahan said they'll explore all options. Another QB that's injured, Lamar Jackson. For some reason, I'm less concerned about Lamar Jackson being injured than Jimmy G. Not for some reason. Huntley's a decent quarterback who can move the ball and who can run the pocket.
Yeah, he looked all right yesterday against the Broncos. The Broncos tough D for sure, and Huntley ended up getting it done at the end. So Lamar will probably be out this week. It doesn't sound nothing too serious, so he could be back probably in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I have no problem with that as a Steeler fan.
Yeah. Well, don't they play this week?
Yep.
Yeah. So for sure. That's a big blow though for the Ravens, especially in the thick of it. Now that you got the Bengals who are playing better, the Titans are going to win that AFC South no matter what. Someone's got to win that one. The Raiders are starting to pick it up too, so they'll see what they can do. And you got those three teams in the AFC East with the Dolphins, Bills, and the Jets who are kind of in the thick of it. So it's a tough time for Ravens to lose Lamar and possibly lose a couple games here and there.
Yeah, we'll see how they do. I think they're in trouble with the Steelers, to be honest with you. Steelers have a very good defense.
Yeah.
TJ Watt is back, and the Steelers apparently found their running game, which they should have found it in the preseason.
Yeah, and Pickett's look pretty good.
Give me a break. Not about that. Pickett's been looking all right.
Yeah.
We'll see. Talk about the AFC North still. The return of Dashaun Watson. It was what it was. How would you expect less? The guy hasn't played in 700 days. 700 days he hasn't played football. And Cleveland's not that good. So,
for a team that you have Nick Chubb as your running back, probably one of the best running backs in the league, like you think you would lean on him a little bit more in this situation and have maybe Dashaun throw a little bit less. But no, they went the other way around and had Dashaun throwing like crazy kind of thing. But yeah, Watson showed his rust, and Yeah, they ended up getting a win, but it was all because of the defense and special teams of Cleveland. But
yeah,
he got his booze, and it's unfortunate to see the guy back in the league already this year. But hopefully he has sorry, Cleveland Brown fans, but hopefully he has a terrible rest of the season too.
But it's so par for the course for this organization. No disrespect to Prison Mike, but this team is not very good. And Deshaun Watson will not thrive with this team. I'm sorry. I don't know what people were expecting. If this guy was Superman, he was going to save this team. He's damaged. He's been off too long, and he doesn't have any good support around him. Recipe for disaster.
One of the things is, at this point, Cleveland's chances of making the playoffs are probably pretty slim. So at least you get him to come in, play some games now so that he's ready for next year. Like you can say, oh, let's leave Brissett in. He knows what he's doing out there. They've won a few games with him. Maybe they got a chance for playoffs. But if you bring Watson in, he gets acclimatized a little bit more back, and then maybe next season he comes in, and plays better than what he did. But at least he gets some games under his belt before next season starts.
Yeah. What a waste of money.
Hopefully he gets beat up on the field. On the field.
For sure. OBJ to the Cowboys. Would that be a good thing?
Michael Gallup looked pretty good to me last night. But yeah, I don't think it would be a bad thing. The only thing is I've been hearing with OBJ is he ready yet? Is he going to be back to full form even by the playoffs that he can add in? He's not a bad guy to have in the field because he's still going to draw guys' attention there, even if he's not the same OBJ yet, coming back from that injury. But if you got CeeDee Lamb, Gallup, and OBJ on the field, that's a pretty tough offense to stop. And who to clue in on. As
a third receiver, why not?
It worked for the Rams last year, right?
Yeah, you spread their defense out. They can't really concentrate on the box. It opens up the running game more. You got to either take a linebacker out to put in a cover, another DB, or whatever you got to do. I think it's a good thing, and I don't think he'll leave Dallas without the cash.
But he wants a multi-year deal. You think Dallas would actually give that multi-year deal?
Probably, I think if they get the right, Dallas, they'll just spend the money.
Yeah, Dallas will do it.
The guy.
Dallas will do it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Boy, Mike McCarthy's looking good.
I got to give him credit. He's got that team going finally this year. That offense is actually humming.
Jeez.
That D is still freaking really good, though.
And the Colts look really bad.
Yes.
Wow. It's just Saturday. Give me a break.
He won his first game, though.
No, great. Let's talk about more football. World Cup football. The round of 16, a lot of it has been done. We have 2 matchups left. Morocco, Spain, Portugal, Switzerland. Who do you see coming out of those 2 matchups?
I like the run Morocco is on right now, but I think Spain will end up being too good for them, and they'll take them out.
Yep.
In the other one, Swiss got a chance. I can see this game going to penalty kicks, but I think Portugal will end up on top in this one.
I agree. I think Portugal will come out of that one. I'm going to go with Morocco. I think it's just that team that is feeling it. Out of the ones that are left, I think they'll keep going with that run. Spain hasn't looked too convincing to me for some reason. I don't know. I don't know what I expected from Spain, to be honest with you, but I just think Morocco's feeling it more. So I'll go with Morocco.
After that round robin and some of the upsets and stuff like that, I was actually looking forward to this round of 16, and I thought maybe there'll be a few upsets here and there. So maybe we'll finally get that tomorrow with Morocco or Switzerland, doing the upset. But so far, none of these games have really been entertaining or close.
No,
the round of 16.
That England-Senegal matchup really set the tone.
Yeah.
It was like 3-0. It was like, oh, that's how it's going to be in this round, eh? And pretty much, yeah, it has been.
Besides Japan today, Japan had a chance with Croatia, but those penalty kicks are probably some of the worst kicks I think I've seen a team take.
No doubt, eh? Why don't you just roll it on the ground already with your hand?
And to the same spot. 2 of them went to the same freaking spot. Exactly. It's like, come on, guys.
They've never been in that position before. They'd be like, what's happening? So let's look at the round of 8 then, minus the possible matchup that we have here. Let's start with Brazil and Croatia. Who do you see coming out of that one? Croatia coming out of the aforementioned matchup that we have in penalty kicks, and Brazil dominating Korea.
Brazil looked really good today against South Korea. I'm going to take Brazil to beat Croatia.
I will as well. It's so hard to go against Brazil on a regular day, but after seeing what they did to South Korea, it's like, yeah, I got to go with Brazil.
Yeah, they looked good. That offense looked good. I mean, they slowed it down. They probably could have, that game could have been more of a thrashing than it ended up being.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Netherlands, Argentina. I'll take Argentina.
Yeah, I'm going with the South American semi there as well. I'm going with Argentina. I think I don't know if Lionel Messi is going to end up winning this thing, but I think this is his time to take his team as far as he can possibly can in his last World Cup, basically.
Yeah.
But I do like Netherlands. They got some good young guys.
Let's go to this next matchup, England-France. Classic matchup in history, never mind just soccer. I love Mbappe, man.
Yeah, he's good. He's so good.
It's ridiculous, man. I've never seen a guy run so fast with the ball on his feet in a long time.
Fuck, oops, excuse me. I think he's always going to end up beating every guy on these runs sometimes, and it's like crazy sometimes when he doesn't. You know, like the way his legs are moving, it's like I don't even think I could. If I tried to run that fast, or even if I got that, I'd be tumbling onto my face in like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
because my legs wouldn't be able to keep up.
It makes no sense.
He's good. He's so good.
So with that said, I'm going to take France in that matchup.
I'm going with you too on this one. France again. I think France has an all-around better team, and those stars up front, I think, will cause havoc for England.
Yeah,
England haven't really been tested defensively yet, like their defense with a team like France. So,
so let's put this one next match up in the air: Spain or Morocco. Whoever wins that one, do you think they can beat Portugal?
Yeah, I think Spain can beat Portugal. Portugal Portugal lost to South Korea. And even in their win against Ghana, it was only a 3-2 win.
Yeah.
And they beat Uruguay decently there, but they haven't been great either. Ronaldo's not the guy that he used to be. Ronaldo's already getting, I mean, he pouted off the field the other day when he got subbed.
Baby.
You know, and the coach called him out on it today or whatever. So we'll see if he even starts tomorrow because there was no mention yet today. So to me, I wouldn't even start him. I'd probably bring the guy on at the end sometimes because they got some good young guys that they're leaving on the bench, to play Ronaldo, who's past his prime. And Ronaldo needs the way he plays. It just sometimes doesn't suit these teams anymore, right? So I think if starting him could be the downfall of Portugal at some point. But if we're going to go with any of these teams and making that semis, I am going to stick with Spain.
And I'm going with Morocco or Spain to beat Portugal in this round. Friends, don't forget to put your World Cup predictions in the comments as well as your NFL Power 5. You got any shout outs? Can I give actually a junior brickhead out?
Yeah, man.
I know it might not be time for brickhead of the week, but I just want to give a junior shout out to LeBron James. This guy deflecting questions about Kyrie Irving and saying that, hey, why don't you guys ask me about Jerry Jones and this picture of him preventing a black student? And I understand that position. Yes, maybe. But at the same time, why didn't he say anything about this Mitchell Miller in Boston Bruins?
Yeah.
Bullying this black kid. Why didn't he say anything there? Or why didn't he complain at that he wasn't asked about that? I'm just saying, that's my junior brickhead. Sometimes I'm really sick of LeBron and his babiness on and off the court. And now he thinks he needs to be asked about everything when he doesn't go out of his way to talk about everything. So LeBron James, you get a junior brickhead, not a full-fledged brickhead in my mind. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to speak out on, I mean, you get asked about Kyrie because it's your league. It's the NBA.
Exactly.
That's why you're getting asked directly. Anything else that's happening, you get asked about the owners, even the NBA, Sterling, there's whatever the guy is from the Phoenix Suns. It's a different league, and it's a picture from 1957. You're not getting asked questions like that. And the thing is, even if you got asked questions sometimes about the NFL, no matter what, he'd be like, I play for the NBA. Why are you asking me NFL questions? If it's off season or something and someone's talking to you, then maybe it's the NBA season going on, man. We're going to ask you questions about the NBA. Yeah. And stick to that. Otherwise, we're going to ask you about every league all the time. No. Man, that's not the way that is not the way it goes.
No, you're not an authority on that. And it really kind of sounds like you're sidestepping a question about Kyrie, your boy. Like, come on. Again, the guy posted a link to a movie that denies some of the Holocaust. Like, what the? Use your brain, guy. Anyone
Big
online
time.
defending this clown, shut up. Don't be stupid. God, educate yourself. Read about it. You got any shout outs?
I'm going to end up giving out 2 because we missed this when we were talking about the Jets. But
here we go.
Shout out to Dylan Sandberg for his first NHL goal. in the big leagues there. Fantastic, not the greatest of goals, but hey, he'll take it.
Yeah, man. From above the face-off circle there.
Yeah.
With a little jiggy. He got jiggy. That was nice. He juked the guy out on the ice.
Yeah, that's true. It was actually good.
Yeah.
Good to see that finally happen for him.
Who else you got a shout out for?
I'm also going to give a shout out to some players from the Brandon Wheat Kings. We crap on hockey players a lot and all the stuff that they've done and all that garbage. So good to see these players, Calder Anderson, Nolan Ritchie, Jake Chason, and Ben Thornton, who helped a distressed man who was contemplating suicide on a bridge in Brandon and helped talk him down and bring him back to safety. So shout out to them.
Put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
Wow. They saved a life.
Yeah, they did. Fantastic. Great young men there. So hopefully other players can learn from that stuff and start to build hockey back up again.
I'd love to talk more goodness about hockey.
Yes.
Without a doubt. Gonna give a shout out to a viewer / listener, a friend of mine, Corey Wojcik. He's actually acting in this Three Musketeers show that we're doing. Come check it out at Manitoba Theater Center. Any which way. He's super funny guy. He wants to know, if you don't have an NFL team, how would you go about picking one? Which is very interesting because it made me think about my roots of picking an NFL team. How would you go about picking an NFL team? I think I have a mixture of geography of a city that you identify with, a team whose history that you might identify with maybe, and rivalries with friends and family. That would motivate me. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, a lot of things sometimes get pushed in the direction of obviously who's winning right now, who's a good team, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to pick a team, you might go with one of the teams that won in the last Super Bowls, right? For me with the Niners, it was 90s. They were a good team. They were winning. I remember my brother had a Niners hat, so that kind of stuck with me, and that's where I ended up going that way. But yeah, they're obviously winning. I didn't pick a team that was in last place and start to become a fan of them there, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely want to see. There's tons of Vikings fans in this city, right? Because it's close and you can watch games. But yeah, things just draw people to other places, and most of the time it's players. To me, even when I became a Flyers fan, it was Ron Hextall that drawn me to the Flyers. So it was a player that kind of. So if you got a player that you love watching in the NFL, that could be another reason to like that team after.
That's a good one too. A good player that you really enjoy, you identify with. I'm really still going to push for you to pick for a team that has the best rivalry or friends with family.
Yeah,
then you can have things like
that too. Yes,
matches,
yes,
Jersey matches, a little bit of gambling,
gambling.
It's all good. Thanks, Corey Wojcik, for that question. If you all have any more questions, put them in the comment section. We'll give you a shout out and try and answer your questions. Benny, you got anything else to say to our friends?
Just thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, subscribe, follow, check us out, leave comments, answer the questions, and have a good week.
And to steal the quote again of Ed Whalen, in the meantime and in between time, that's it. Another edition of Ray and Benny Talk Sports. Cut. If you had to choose an NFL team, can't be the 49ers to be your favorite team, who would it be?
I think we talked about this before. And you mentioned it too. I think he said Raiders, right? The Raiders always have that slight pull for me too. I don't know why or what it is, but I'd probably lean that way, even though they're for the most part a dumpster fire.
I love the badass of the Raiders.
Maybe it's that logo. I don't know what it is.
Oh, it's so awesome. I wear that with pride. Also because probably in the 90s when we listened to hip hop, we saw these guys with Raiders, a lot of Raiders stuff. Easy and Dr. Dre, NWA. Shoot. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.